Hello, welcome to the BMC Learning Series. Today we'll be covering MainView MVI Agent Installation and Configuration, Part 2. Let's jump right into configuring MVI NGI XX, Case 1. There is a shared MVI ng-ini file. Configuration information is entered from Option 3 of the OSI Configuration Actions section. The new MVI agent parameter configuration data is entered as part of Option 4, Configure MainView Products. The first step is to add any additional systems you might want to configure. Select Option 1 from the Configure MainView Products menu. Enter any additional sysplexes or systems to be configured and proceed through the remaining panels. In Panel 7, you must enter the DBC SSID for each system where an MVI agent will be installed. The previous section of this course explained how to find the SSID of a DBC address space. Proceed to Configure MainView Products Option 2. Generally speaking, only MainView infrastructure needs to be selected for existing customers who are upgrading from MVI 6.1 to 6.2. Occasionally, other products will need additional configuration when they are being upgraded. Consult your local MainView SE for advice. New customers or existing customers who are adding additional MainView products will need to select those for configuration as well. Customers who are upgrading products at the same time may need to do additional product configuration. Leave the default values in panels 1 to 3 for MainView infrastructure, regardless of whether you used those for your actual configuration, as you will not be generating or changing any of the values already in place. When you get to Panel 4, all the values should be set to the default. BMC's recommendation is to use the default values. If you change any of the values, make sure they are all the same for any given sysplex. In Panel 5, you must specify either a storage class or volume. Regardless of what you specify, you will only receive JCL to configure the first system, so if you use volume on one system and storage class on another, you will have to use a workaround to get the second configuration type generated. This will be discussed in detail later in the course. If you are only using the default logger facility, leave the sysp suffix as 00. If you have other product-specific loggers in place, and this is for existing customers only, you may need to add additional values for their logger XX members in UBB PARM. The MVI NGL init member suffix may be NI if it is shared with all LPARs in a sysplex. That is, if they can use the same value or values which can be specified via system symbolics. If this is not the case, each LPAR will require its own MVI NGI member suffix. We recommend using the value of &sysclone in this case. Again, the configuration jobs generated will only use the value from the first system being configured. You may need to make manual adjustments to resulting configuration jobs. If you are an existing customer and want to convert the existing logs to DBC log sets, enter the register name for the existing log files. The generated conversion utility job may need to be run several times with manual changes if you have additional registers for product-specific MV logger files. Save your configuration entries and proceed to the next panel. Although the $910 CNFG job is generated, you do not need to run it if you are only configuring MainView infrastructure and are an existing customer with an older version of MainView infrastructure already installed. Generate the JCL. Again, note that the $910 CNFG job does not need to be run for MainView infrastructure configuration if you are an existing customer upgrading MainView infrastructure. If you are a new customer, or adding or upgrade other products which require configuration, you will need to run the $910 CNFG job. A skeleton member is created in the install JCL library for members MVI NGI XX. As you can see, most of the parameters have symbolic variables for their values. These values are substituted with the values in the $include members by the tailoring process, which will place the member in the UBMC parm. The PIID and DBC SSID values come from the $include IMF member. Here are some other variables from the $INV MV member. If you need to change the value of these variables as you move from the configuration to other systems, you need to change the values in the $include members. The $445 copy job does the tailoring or variable substitution to the skeleton member and places a resulting member in the UBMC parm. Most of the values must be identical on all LPARs of the sysplex if you are using a shared MVI NGI member. However, the DBC ID must be different on all LPARs in a sysplex. As you can see, the value is hard-coded into this member based on the first system that was configured, the SysP. In order to make the member shareable between LPARs, you must manually change the value of the DBC ID to DC ampersand sysclone, providing your DBC SSID naming convention supports this. If you cannot specify a system symbolic to create the correct DBC ID on each LPAR, you will need separate MVI NGI XX members for each LPAR. An example of this is when the DBC SSID is DC01, DC02, DC03 instead of DC ampersand sysclone. In general, the $445 copy job is supposed to be run once for each LPAR to create individual LPAR-specific parameter members. For example, the $DBC and $SEC members. However, if you run the $445 copy as is, you will regress any changes you have made to support the shared MVI NGI I member. In order to prevent this, you will need to remove the BFV copy step from subsequent executions of the job, or wait until all instances of the $445 copy have been run to make your manual changes. If the sharing criteria cannot be met, each LPAR will need its own MVI NGI XX. Shown are some examples of conditions which can make this occur. If separate MGI NGI members are needed, this should be noted in the MVI configuration panels. As a reminder, the Aussie jobs, that is the $445 copy and the $465 init, only use the data from the first entry to generate the skeleton and the $include members, so this is for documentation purposes only. Regardless of whether a shared or separate MVI NGI members are specified, the same set of jobs is generated. As a reminder, the $910 CNFG job does not need to be run, only if you are an existing customer upgrading MainView infrastructure. You may need to create a new JCL library to deploy additional sysplexes. Alternatively, if the original JCL HLQ is supported on the remote system, you simply ship the original library over. In the original JCL library, or the copy you just made in the $include, values will be set for the original system. However, comments will show the correct values for the DBC ID for the new sysplex if you entered them correctly in the MVI configuration. The values for the MVI PIID, however, are not carried over. Since you should be using the default value, MVI1, for all LPARs, this should not matter. Because the DBC SSID must be different on each LPAR and is not susceptible to variable substitution, a different MVI-NGI member must be created for each LPAR. This is accomplished by modifying the DVA12SFX variable in the $include MV member of the JCL library. Here, the variable has been changed to the sysclone value, D1. We recommend using $sysclone for the MVI-NGI suffix in all non-shared environments. The DVA12SFX variable is used in the $445 copy job. You must run the $445 copy for each LPAR after changing the value of the variable in the $include MV. The resulting MVI-NGID1 member is created in the UBMC PARM library. The DBC ID is set by the DBC SID variable in the $include INF member. As mentioned, the supported way to create multiple members is to change the variables in the include INF and $INV MV members and run job $445 copy for each LPAR. Another approach is to simply copy the initial member and make the changes manually. Here's an example of changing the include members. After running the $445 copy, you will have a new UBMC PARM member with the appropriate BMC SID value of DC02. The alternative approach is to simply create MVI-NGID2 by copying MVI-NGID1. Then manually edit the DBC ID value as appropriate. Which approach you choose is entirely up to you. What's next is we'll look at the creation of the Logger XX member for new and existing customers, and how existing customers can continue to use their existing Logger XX member in UBB PARM. For more videos on MainView and other BMC solutions, please visit our BMC Mainframe YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/BMC Software Mainframe/featured. That's it for this session. Thank you and see you next time.